And when we look back at Sharon Engel versus Harry Reid, we will not believe that this was really 2010 and this was really Nevada and this was not 1964 in the Deep South.
I'm Sharon Engel, and I approve this message.
Waves of illegal aliens streaming across our border, joining violent gangs, forcing families to live in fear. And what's Harry Reid doing about it? Voting to give illegal aliens Social Security benefits, tax breaks, and college tuition. Voting against declaring English our national language twice. And even siding with Obama and the President of Mexico to block Arizona's tough new immigration law. Harry Reid, it's clear whose side he's on, and it's not yours. Illegals sneaking across our border, putting Americans' safety and jobs at risk. And what does Harry Reid do? He comes out opposed to Arizona's tough new immigration law. Reid cheers as the president of Mexico slams Arizona's tough illegal immigration law. Now, Reid has introduced a plan that gives illegals a pathway to amnesty and even special college tuition rates, with the money coming from Nevada taxpayers. Harry Reid, the best friend illegals have ever had.
Sharon Engel's closing argument in the final days of this campaign has been yet another one of these ads doubling down on race. Harry Reid is not on your side. Who's you? What are the two sides here? Well, these are the bad guys in the Sharon Engel ads. This is how she defines the other side. You may notice some similarities among these images. And this is what she says is the other side. This is the bad side. And this, in Sharon Engel's ads, is what she describes as your side. She wants you to know that she stands on your side, not on that other significantly and quite literally darker side. The ads are called things like best friend and thanks, pal, to make clear that Harry Reid is the pal on the side of the menacing brown people. And Sharon Engel, of course, is on the other side. Sharon Engel is on the side of the white people. It is as blunt as that. All of the national attention, all of the outside money, all of the candidate fundraising, all of the press, all of the issues, all of the challenges facing the state of Nevada, all of the campaigning, it is all boiling down to the Republican candidate making her closing argument case that she stands with white people. And the Democrat stands against white people by standing with Latinos. And therefore, you should vote Republican, white people.
They have really, really played that issue heavily in the last few weeks. These illegal immigration ads, to me, are very, very frightening in what they're obviously trying to do. And it's interesting because it's a trade-off by the Engel campaign. The Hispanic vote is huge here, or potentially huge, right? Yeah. And it's 25% of the electorate. It was 15% of the vote when Obama won the state by 12 points. The Democrats hope to get it up to 12%. It's unclear whether they can get there or not. And yet they are willing to take that chance to drive up independent turnout. The Engel people are.
So, to be clear, this is, with these immigration ads, they're really, really pointed on race. All of the victims are white people. All of the assailants are brown people. It's this menacing, brown people are coming to get you. Harry Reid is not with you, with the implied white voter, the implied white viewer. Sharon Engel saying, I'm with you, white people. So is she banking on Hispanic groups getting mad and saying, we don't like Sharon Engel, because that will actually reinforce the message that she's with white voters against Hispanics? Well,
I really think that and all the polling shows this, that what they believe is that independent voters in this state, who are a lot of the undecided, if there are any undecided left, are really moved by the illegal immigration pitch. They're out of work. She's giving the perception that these menacing thugs are coming across the border to steal their jobs.
Joining us now is Assemblyman Ruben Kihuen, who is running for state senate here in Nevada. Mr. Kihuen is the first Hispanic immigrant to be elected into office in modern Nevada history. Assemblyman Kihuen, thanks very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel, and welcome to fabulous Las Vegas.
Thank you. It is quite fabulous, even on a Wednesday.
It is.
Sharon Engel has 3 immigration-focused television ads that show, to my mind, menacing-looking Latino men. She says they're streaming across our border, leaving our families in fear. All the pictured families appear to be white families. Is this typical Nevada politicking, and we are just nationally paying attention to it because of this high-profile race, or is this not usually the way things are done in Nevada?
You know, this is an unprecedented race here. We obviously have the Senate Majority Leader running for re-election. We have a very popular Senate Majority Leader within the Hispanic community. Sharon Engel now knows that those Latinos, if they do come out and vote, they're not going to vote against her. So obviously, this is why
vote for her.
For her, I'm sorry. This is why they're launching those outrageous, despicable, anti-Hispanic, anti-American, un-American ads here in Nevada. And I think it depicts the immigrant community as if we were all thugs, murderers, rapists, but they don't depict those hardworking immigrants, those lawyers, those police officers, those elected officials that many of us are. And I think it's wrong and it's unacceptable here in our state.
Everybody thinks that the calculus behind this is that the Republicans know they will give up all hope of certainly all Latino voters, but probably all minority voters by doing this. But they think that it's worth it because they will lock up all of the fearful white vote that they can scare up with this sort of thing. That calculus only works if Latinos aren't inspired by that sort of politicking to turn out and vote against her. What are you seeing in terms of signs about Latino turnout? Look,
I've been campaigning for Senator Reid for the last year, and I don't think I have seen the Hispanic community more motivated now than ever because of these ads. Just 2 weeks ago, they were about to launch the Don't Vote ad. That right there caught the attention of the Hispanic community, and I don't think we could have had a better gift to mobilize and to energize the Hispanic community than that ad and also all this anti-Hispanic ads.
You know, I spoke with Senator Reid today. I tried to get an interview with Sharon Engel. She wouldn't agree to one. But Senator Reid raised that Don't Vote ad, and that was run by an outside group telling Latino voters, Democrats haven't done anything for you. Don't vote. Didn't even try to make the case for Sharon Engel. Just said don't vote. It was a Spanish language ad. It was pulled pretty quickly, but it made a big splash. Do you think that will scare people or persuade people into not voting?
You know what? Look, most people here in the state of Nevada are very well aware that this is the most contentious race in the nation and the most important. At the end of the day, if they allow one ad to persuade them to not go vote, obviously that person is not well informed. We're excited, though, that these ads have energized our Latino community. We make up almost 15% of the electorate and 25% of the population, meaning that this election will be determined by the Latino vote. And with these ads, they're just getting mobilized and energized.
Do you think that after the election, no matter what happens in the Senate race, no matter what happens in your race and all the other races that are happening right now, do you think that this has done harm to the racial fabric of America? Does this type of politics hurt us in our effort to get over our sort of legacy of racial friction and violence in this country?
You know, Rachel, what's unfortunate about this is that after November 2nd, this tension between Hispanics and everybody else that Sharon Engel has created will stick for a long time. Yeah. You know, a leader should be able to unite, not to divide. And Sharon Engel is dividing the community. And we have to be here. We want to live here after November 2nd. And this is only creating tension that is completely unnecessary.
State Assemblyman Ruben Cuen, running for State Senate. Good luck in your race, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. When you arrive in Las Vegas, the Las Vegas ropes get shown to you by one of the best political reporters in this country. The totally irreplaceable, bottomless pit of political knowledge, that is John Ralston of the Las Vegas Sun.
Hi, Rachel.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I have to warn you that I'm, even though I'm never the sharpest tool in the shed, slightly duller than usual because of this sleep deprivation, so you're going to have to be really emphatic.
Las Vegas is a lot more exciting than Alaska. I promise. I promise.
All right. Excellent.
I've never driven a van before, so this could be an adventure.
What do you usually drive?
Land Rover, so it's not that far off.
I was just going to say, you don't strike me as like an MG guy.
I don't? Uh-oh.
We are less than a week out. The race is certainly in top gear, but you said that it's felt like it's in top gear for months.
Yeah, and now you're just seeing the intensity ratchet up to, I think, a level that nobody could have anticipated. But with everything that you see in the last minute of a campaign from both sides. And you do see some unusual things, too, Rachel. I mean, Harry Reid is out in public every day, which nobody expected because he's not that good in public. I think if Harry Reid wins the race, the key part of the whole race, Rachel, would have been the 6 weeks after the primary when they ran these relentless "she's crazy" ads. And she went from an 8 to 11 point lead to being dead even in the polls and her negatives started going up. The interesting thing is that most of the really crazy stuff she said came after that, talking about that there may be domestic enemies on Capitol Hill. And what I still think, frankly, is the most frightening thing she said, which is in a rural town called Mesquite, which, by the way, ironically, is where Sue Loudon made her chicken comments. It's the locus of everything in the
Mesquite Triangle. Don't go there.
Exactly. Is where she actually said to a group when talking about the Muslim terrorist situation in the United States that there are two communities that have Sharia law. Which is, the Reed people think, oh, this is the dog whistle to the Muslims are coming, the Muslims are coming. But I just think this is emblematic of Sharon Angle. She just says things without thinking.
Yeah.
And it's very careless but very dangerous rhetoric that's incendiary, whether it's Second Amendment remedies or domestic enemies or this thing that there's Sharia law in this country. And
when confronted about that, her explanation was, oh, I thought I'd heard that once.
I read that somewhere.
Yeah.
I read that somewhere. Imagine if people just said that we're running for office things they read somewhere. I mean, it's just, but it's the lack of, it's uncritical thinking. She can't get below the surface on anything once she's asked about it, which of course is why she's not doing many interviews. And then so there are some people who think she topped that a couple weeks ago when she was talking to a group of Hispanic students at a local high school and said all manner of crazy stuff. Some of you look Asian to me. But I really thought the more amazing thing was she seemed to be unsure what are those images she's using in these very borderline, at best, racist illegal immigration spots, whether or not those are Latinos or not. She seemed not to be quite sure of that, and then said, well, the real problem is the terrorists coming across the Canadian border.
Yeah.
Which is, as I said in the column I wrote recently, maybe I overstated this, in an ordinary election, that's a disqualifier to hold public office, right?
Yeah.
To say something, but not this year.
The issues that our members are affect everybody. It's about the economy. It's about jobs. It's about foreclosure questions. It's obviously about health insurance. It's about having a better future for our kids. The other issue is immigration. Her recent ads have made it appear like all Latinos are gang members, which is just outrageous, and I guess racism is alive and well.
This is what I talk to people. You know what? You cannot pay attention to those commercials. That is commercial, that is another stuff. We need to have clear one thing. With Hateful Bigot, we will have future in this country. Not with Sharon Angle.
They understand that they're trying to criminalize an ethnic group. Unfortunately, that's a long tradition in this country, going back, for example, just recently in 1988 with the Horton ads.
If Harry Reid doesn't get into office, I think this city is through, because Sharon Angle wants to do absolutely nothing for this city.
You're not going to do nothing for us. If you, when the media trying to talk to you, you run away from them, you don't stop and say something, And why are you running for senator then? If you cannot answer a simple question.
Sharon Angle is too extreme. She wants to take away Social Security, Medicaid, especially the Department of Education, when the kids are the most important because they are our future.
People from outside the state who are spending all this money to knock Harry Reid, they don't live here, they don't care about here. It's all part of a jigsaw puzzle. I think the people in this state very much can make their own decisions, and frankly, I wish the people from New York, Washington, LA, Seattle, Chicago who don't live here just stay out.
The views of Nevada's very influential culinary union, their members speaking to us there.
What do you mean when you mean Second Amendment remedies?
So, thank you.
Second Amendment remedies, anything?
We're looking at how can we best benefit from the media.
Sharon, will you answer some questions really quickly?
Yes, I will. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to earn anything from people who are there to badger me.
Sharon, can we talk to you about why...
Well, I have to get on, but I just want to ask you to get out the vote, okay? Thank you.
Why won't you answer what Second Amendment remedies means?
We needed to have the press be our friend.
Sharon, you don't have any...
We're running behind, I'm sorry.
You're not willing to answer what Second Amendment remedies means?
We wanted them to ask the questions we want to answer so that they report the news the way we want it to be reported.
We tried to ask you that question earlier. We've actually tried with your campaign for days.
Joining us now is one of those members of Nevada's media that you just saw there chasing Republican Senate candidate Sharon through parking lots all over the state. Nathan Baca is a news reporter for KLAS TV here in Vegas. Nathan, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. So, all right, other than having to wear running shoes to work, what are the particular challenges of trying to cover this Senate campaign?
It's difficult to get clear answers about even just straight policy questions because we are trying to figure out not only domestic policy questions, but there are entire fields of this policy, of foreign policy, national security, that have not even been asked, and we don't have any answers.